now you feel so much anger when it happens and confusion, and you grow into this, and we're still growing. We still have those moments of anger and heartbreak. But we're definitely getting to that place where this has a meaning bigger than just our family.
Mark and Mariah are an incredible couple with fascinating, inspiring, and important words to share. I am Seth Carnell, and this is the Go Shout Love podcast. Today is part 2 of the conversation with Mark and Mariah, the parents to Emma and Abby. If this is your first time listening, I would highly recommend you pause this episode and go back to last week's episode for a little context. Emma and Abby are our feature kiddos for this month, and they are an incredible set of sisters with a remarkably rare diagnosis and story. So rare that they are the first and only known cases with their genetic mutation. Last week, we heard about the medical journey itself and how Emma was able to play a significant role in the diagnosis of Abby. Today, we get to hear some advice from these parents who have kept going even in the storm. But not only that, we get to hear how they have gone beyond their initial anger and grief and have turned their journey outward and have begun a foundation called Lightening and Love to help with the research of other future diagnoses similar to Emma and Abby's. This is a shorter episode than normal, but we also have something special towards the end. We get to share a unique moment that we don't typically get to capture. We recorded sharing the t-shirt design with Mark and Mariah for the first time before it launched September 1st. These are always great moments that happen normally after we meet the family, but our virtual limitations have expanded some moments like this, and we would like to share it with you today. Leading this conversation is Josh Veach, one of the co-directors of Go Shout Love. Please take a second to rate and review and share this podcast and help us shout love by spreading these stories even further. Here is Josh to get us started.
Mark, you mentioned how this has been full. This journey has been full of highs and lows, and that sometimes it's easier than others maybe to put a positive spin on it, and that to as an encouragement to other people who might be listening and might be in a similar situation. One of the favorite questions that we like to ask is what kind of advice would you give, or what would you tell a parent who has just received a rare medical diagnosis?
I guess to put it in simple terms, we kind of said it before, is just keep getting back up. You know what I mean? Like you're going to get knocked down, and I guess that happens to anybody in life, but in our case, I guess it's maybe
More
especially
often.
true, or more often. That's probably a better way to put it. Like, it's all relative for anybody that's going through something difficult, but for a rare medical disease, you just have to keep getting back up, because we've been, just to use that same, I guess, analogy or whatever, we've been knocked down so many times, but you get back up, and you don't do it just to fulfill that phrase. You do it because when you get back up, you can get through it, and you do get better. I mean, what else am I going to do? Can't crumble now. You know what I mean? So I would just tell them, just keep getting back up, and it's going to take time. I mean, we probably haven't even been doing it all that long. I'm sure there's folks out there that have been dealing with stuff harder than us for longer than us. And I would hope that they, would have that same advice for us, is to just keep on going.
And that it does get easier with time. I mean, the acceptance piece, I think, is huge, because you're in shock and your life just completely flipped upside down on you. And that's an impossible feeling and place to be. But when you get to that point of acceptance, you can start seeing the beauty in the situation and finding normalcy in your own unique life.
Yeah, like for the longest time, I remember thinking like, I don't care about anybody else. I just want what's best for the girls, and whatever we can do to help the girls. I don't care about anybody else's diagnosis or what anybody else's kids for that matter. Because I was angry. I was pissed off about what had happened. Now I think it's almost, especially with the foundation and even sitting here chatting with you guys and what Mariah's done, it's like almost become the complete opposite, right? It's like now I think we may not ever be able to change things for our girls, but maybe we're laying the foundation for other people that this happens to.
Right.
And that's enough to let you keep going.
Yep. It gives meaning to a situation that we were thrown into.
But I don't think that's probably not the first thought anybody has. Like it's taken everything that we've gone through to get to that point. That was definitely not the first thought I had when this happened.
No, you feel so much anger when it happens and confusion, and you grow into this, and we're still growing. We still have those moments of anger and heartbreak, but we're definitely getting to that place where this has a meaning bigger than just our family.
Yeah. What you've said is so consistent with what we hear often. Families will kind of describe paradoxes in their journeys where they have opposing feelings, experienced at the same time, like grief and gratitude, or sorrow and joy, challenge and inspiration. Do any of those relate to you guys, or are there paradox types of emotions that are feelings that come to you?
On a daily basis, it's a roller coaster. For instance, right now with the foundation, we're taking some, pretty good steps with progress, and, understanding this disease and our gene a little bit more. And it's really exciting. And, working with you guys, we are so excited to share this story and meet so many more people in the rare disease community. But next month, or I guess in October, Emma's having double hip surgery, and we're going to be in the hospital. And it is so petrifying knowing that she has to go through this major surgery at 3 years old, and the emotions of these two different things, the excitement of working with you guys and our research and our foundation and all these, positive stories that we're hearing in the community. I go from that happy emotion and excited and hopeful to being just in panic and anxious because I know that this surgery is coming up. And, those are concrete examples, but I'll watch Emma have a seizure 1 minute and be turning blue because she's breaking my heart. But, and she's cooing and singing to her music, and you're filled with all this joy. It is a constant coaster, and I'm sure that is a medical parents journey, but especially I think with epilepsy, when you see on and off all day long these seizures, it's a very concrete example of heartbreak to happy, watching her seize and recover over and over again.
Yeah. You guys have mentioned the foundation a couple times, and we want to talk about that and bring light to what you guys are doing. And so tell us a little bit about that, what it's called and the thought behind the name, and then kind of what the goal of that is.
Yeah. So our foundation is called Lightning and Love. That came about because we say, lightning struck twice for our family, but love surpasses it all. A little bit of lightning, but a whole lot of love. So that's the name. And our goal is to raise money and advocacy for research, specifically into our girls' disease, which is a gene called THAP12, but even more so to kind of bring advocacy to ultra rare diseases. Our girls are the only two people in the world that we currently know of to suffer from this genetic disease, and that is a very hard place to be in for families like ours. We have such an uphill battle because there are no other cases. There is no research into this gene. We're starting completely from scratch. And so many rare diseases, even if they have a handful of people across the world, they have a starting point of, some initial understanding and some patient cases to compare to. And we don't have that. And so I think not only are we driving through our foundation the research for our girls' disease, and because we want to find them a treatment, but we want to help be part of, this change that's going on in genetic research where, treating these 1 and 2 case diseases, we want to be part of making this information and this process and this understanding available to future families that are being told, we don't know what your diagnosis is. Here's your gene. We know nothing about it. Nothing we can do. We've heard that so many times when being told, information about our gene. Well, there's really nothing we can do. You just have to wait for science to catch up. And we just can't sit around and wait. And so we are using the foundation to, drive that research, and we're getting some traction, and we're learning a whole lot. So we're excited to see where it goes. It's still new, so we're still figuring it out as we go. But so far, we're getting a lot of good traction with some researchers and some things. So it's exciting.
And how long ago did you launch Lightning in Love?
Like in June.
So it is brand new.
Brand new, yeah.
And you have really, as part of that, you've immersed yourself in the genetics world. And do you have any sort of background on genetics or medicine?
Not a bit. I'm a software engineer by trade, so medical stuff is not my area. In fact, for the longest time, getting blood drawn would send me into panic mode.
So genetic coding is not your type of coding. That's not exactly. Not my type of coding, but I'm learning. So I am,
trying to become a genetic scientist.
Yeah.
I'm trying to become a foundation business manager. I'm trying to become a fundraising expert. I'm trying to do all these things, and there are just not enough hours in the day.
Yeah, sure. I'm incredibly inspired. In fact, when we look at nominations, this is the first time that we've ever selected a family where the resources that are raised during the month are going to go towards a foundation or research, because we know that there are other nonprofits and other funding resources available for those sort of things, and a lot of times we find families that they're struggling with gas money needs to and from the hospital, and so we tend to try to fit that need a little bit. But we were so moved by the fact that here are these 2 girls facing this journey together. And like you said, they're the only 2. And so while we're doing something that we don't normally do in supporting a foundation and a research goal, it still feels so personal because it's your family that's starting from scratch, like you said. And so I'm incredibly inspired that you guys have chosen to take something that is so difficult and say, we just can't sit by and do nothing. We might not, like Mark said, we might not be able to change every outcome that we'd like to for our daughters, but we are not going to just give up. We're going to do everything we can for them, and then also chart the path so that any that come behind them can have more opportunities. And I think that's really powerful.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely very personal for us. We are, doing the foundation thing, but it's very close to home. It is, mom and pop. It's built by our family and aimed at helping our girls and helping anybody else in the future that's like our girls. And, our Emma and Abby are the only 2 people in the world that we know of to suffer from this, but that's not to say that there's not other people out there suffering from it and just haven't gotten their diagnosis because doctors don't know to look for this gene. And so maybe, through our research, we'll be able to give other people that are out there a diagnosis and get to connect with them and build a community about this disease and have that support.
As you are going through this process and pursuing the research, what are kind of the next steps, and are there specific goals that you're trying to hit, like in fundraising, to let those next steps happen?
Yeah, so our goals right now are to use animal models to really verify and understand this gene better. So we have a zebrafish model underway, and we should know pretty quickly whether the zebrafish have seizures and are able to show a similar phenotype to Emma and Abby. We also have mice models underway. So those are kind of our big goals right now. And we are working to continue funding those goals for further research. It's a range, because right now we're taking every little bit that we can to push each next step of research along the way. But, end goal, if we end up being able to aim for a genetic replacement therapy, that fundraising is up in the millions. So, we're not looking that far ahead right now. At this point, we're really just trying to fund each step of the research and see how far that can get us. But, every little bit is just helpful towards our goal, because at the end of the day, it's going to take a lot. It's really unfortunate that money is what stands in the way from being able to, cure your kiddos. But that's just the reality of it. So we're starting small and hoping that with ongoing research, we can make it happen for our girls.
So I just want to go back. So you just said that that you started the foundation in June, and you already have 2 animal test. I don't remember. Forgive me. I don't remember exactly how you said it so perfectly. But you're already into a testing phase. And how did you get so far so fast?
Yeah. So I've been pushing some research since before we started the foundation. We just knew that in order to continue the research, we were going to need the funding. And so we had things kind of started a little bit before that. But a lot of it has been just being really annoying.
Yeah.
So emailing researchers and people, constantly, and just trying to get anybody to jump on it. And then some of it's been luck. I went to a conference and, met somebody who has kind of taken us under his wing as a scientific advisor and really helped me open the right doors and go in the right directions. And so, some of it is just the consistency and the drive, and some of it is a little bit of luck and just meeting the right people. And I've learned that the more people I can talk to, the more doors that opens to other people and other opportunities. And so really it's just sticking with it and keeping at it, and just reaching out to anybody that might have some information or might be willing to help. And I've found that the research community, the rare disease community, is so open to helping, and so open to, if they can't help you directly, to putting you in contact with people and at least giving you some information. And so it's definitely not an easy thing to do, but people are really kind and really try to help as much as they can.
Yeah. That's incredible that you're that far. I'm sure it has to feel like it's taken a long time.
Feels like a lifetime.
Yeah. But when you think about just how much, I know that there's a lot of process that goes into any sort of progress, and that persistence that you talked about. Not everybody has that, even for the things that they care the most about. And the fact that you guys have stuck with it and have made this happen while also parenting a really difficult season, an unknown journey, is incredibly admirable, and you guys should be commended for sure. Very powerful story that you guys are sharing, and we're honored to be able to talk with you and share what's been going on in your life, and to be able to meet Emma and Abby and help share their stories. So to wrap this up, we haven't had a chance to. Typically at this point we would have already passed on our shirt design for the month.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So because we were already scheduled to talk, I just thought we'll just hold off and do that as part of this conversation, if that's okay with you guys.
I'm excited. Yeah.
So what we were when we're thinking about shirt designs, our goal is we want to uniquely capture the story of the child or children that are being featured that month. And we want to also create something that will resonate with a broad audience, to the point where if they see the shirt, they think, oh, that's a great shirt. And then if they find out there's a story behind it, that's icing on the cake. But for those who get connected to Emma and Abby, that they're going to immediately resonate with it as well. And so the idea of lightning and love as the foundation that you guys have created, and the focus of taking this extremely rare situation and yet focusing on positive and opportunity and growth in the middle of this storm is kind of how we landed on the design. So I'm going to share my screen with you so you can see it, if that's okay.
Yeah, that sounds great. I'm excited. Aw, I love that. Even in the storm. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, that's really, really awesome. Different than I was expecting, but in a really good way.
Good. Well, it just seemed to fit that you guys are choosing love. You're choosing these opportunities. You're choosing to chart the course for other families, even in a really difficult storm. And it seems that, especially in what's going on in the world right now, just the uncertainty and the difficulty in so many different levels, that we just felt that for anybody going through something difficult, they may need to be focusing on love right now. They may need to be focusing on giving grace right now. They need to be focusing on hope right now. And they can put that word in their own mind right in front of even in the storm, because so many people are facing storms right now. And yet this is super personal for Emma and Abby too. So that is
it's perfect. It's a nice little hint at the lightning and the love, but in a very, generic way, like you said, where anybody can relate to this. And I think, just like you said, people are going through a lot right now. A lot of people are going through different things, and even in the storm, you can get through it.
That's a great way to look at it, you guys. Just the other folks that are a part of this too.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I absolutely love these conversations and how I feel after listening. I am inspired and encouraged, and I hope you are as well. If you are new to Go Shout Love, each month we shout love for families through the sale of creative apparel inspired by the kiddos. This month's Even in the Storm design is inspired by Emma and Abby from Centennial, Colorado. These sweet sisters not only share a powerful sibling bond, but also share an ultra-rare condition. Every item sold in September will be used to support research with the goal of creating genetic therapy that will give Emma, Abby, and kids with the same diagnosis in the future the best possible life. Visit our website at GoShout.love to support Emma and Abby through the purchase of a t-shirt, a sweater, hoodie, tumbler, or other items. Please keep listening and following us on social media. You can find us easily. Just type in GoShout.love. We have another great family to introduce you to in a couple weeks. Until then, keep it up, and as always, Go Shout Love.